called Shapeshifter. I was born in a hurry. Mother woke up, water broke, and within 2 hours I was out. 8:30 a.m. as if late for work. Father, seeing the leap, turned me into a frog. I jumped for days and mastered bug eating, but I couldn't stand the swamp, wouldn't croak, my neck all cicatrix since the slit. Grandpa turned me into a monkey, but by then I'd fallen in love with my true name and was done dancing for the organ grinder. In elementary school, the teachers turned me into a mockingbird, but I wouldn't stop singing. In middle school, they turned me into a ghost, but I wouldn't wail on command, so they turned me into a dog until I bit the hand that fed. They turned me into a tortoise, but I kept jumping out of my shell, stared them down with orange eyes, and licked my wounds in the dark. When I got to high school, they turned me into a bird of paradise. They beckoned for a mating dance, but the feathers had long since been ripped out of my wings. I turned into a marionette and hobbled on slack ankles, but I couldn't find the puppet master. I got wet in the rain and huddled in caves. I turned into a wolf, but I couldn't find a pack. I turned into a fox, but I couldn't secure a den. I turned into a coyote, but my throat went raw from crying. I turned into a bear, but I couldn't sleep. I turned into a sparrow, but I couldn't get my nest together. My brother turned me into a penguin, trying to help, but I hadn't the blubber, fish, or the brood. I turned into a falcon, but my fear of heights stopped me from leaving my perch. I turned into a magpie, but my roommate stole my jewels. I turned into a cockroach, but the neighborhood had already gentrified and my landlord had the fumigators on speed dial. So I moved to Japan and turned into a beetle. The school kids chased me with nets, and their teachers kept calling me a fine specimen, so I turned into a tanuki. Everyone wanted to party, but I couldn't take the hangovers anymore. I turned into a red panda and lived off grapes until I met my mate. We grew fat in our bamboo forest while the news said to avoid gatherings of more than 5. We turned to ibexes, but a drought parched our savanna. We turned into tarsiers, but loggers clear-cut our grove. We turned into longhorns, but the Texans kept eyeing our hindquarters and talking about steak. We turned into sea lions, but they built a derrick in our ranging waters. We cough on the oil and the fish are harder to come by, but we're taking our time. We want the next change to be our last.